This morning, a stunning proposal from an American president. Donald Trump, with the Israeli prime minister by his side, declaring that the U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip and calling for the permanent resettlement of roughly 2 million Palestinians.
The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, and we will do a job with it, too. We'll own it and be responsible for dismantling all of the dangerous unexploded bombs and other weapons on the site.
And he says he's willing to use the U.S. military to do it.
We'll do what is necessary. If it's necessary, we'll do that. We're going to take over that piece, and we're going to develop it, create thousands and thousands of jobs.
Benjamin Netanyahu seemingly on board with the plan.
I think it's something that could change history, and it's worthwhile really pursuing this avenue.
The real estate mogul turned president touting the potential opportunity.
I don't want to be cute. I don't want to be a wise guy, but the Riviera of the Middle East, this could be something that could be so bad. This could be so magnificent.
But Trump provided no details on how he could do this or on what authority he could take over the sovereign territory. His proposal likely a violation of international law. The big question, who would live there? Trump broadly suggesting everyone is welcome.
International law is over. Okay, it's never been more over than at this moment. Joe Biden already basically destroyed it, especially important to address because he was supposed to be the reasonable adult in the room that wasn't like Donald Trump that would renege on like previous American foreign policy decisions like Donald Trump did when he destroyed the Iran denuclearization agreement and things like that. And Donald Trump came in and was like, yeah, no, what do you mean international rule-based order? I make the rules. I give you the orders. You follow them. That's just how it's supposed to work, which in some respects is honest. It's brutally honest, but it's over. It's done. Donald Trump is once again showcasing that it's super done. In many respects, I've talked to a lot of well-intentioned people out here, and their perspective on America's placement around the planet, especially in places like Japan. And this was championed by the JCP as well. This perspective was people that are constantly in their minds living under the ever-present threat of China and Russia, right? Outside of the sphere of American influence. They were truly terrified of Vladimir Putin's actions, which is understandable. I think we here in the United States of America, even though I'm in Japan right now, don't necessarily see the threat of a despot or a tyrant or someone who is just like willing to just go, nah, I'm taking this shit. It's mine now outside of the United States of America, right? And we're far removed from the impact of it. So even if, let's say, the fears are unfounded because of the limitations that the Russian state has in terms of taking over the entirety of Ukraine and then possibly moving into Poland. Like, even if all of that is impossible, given the actual limitations, I think that Vladimir Putin's actions, unjustifiable actions in Ukraine, violent actions in Ukraine, have truly terrified a lot of people living under the sphere of Western influence. They are scared that this entire process can just kind of fall apart if someone just goes, nah, I'm not fucking around with this any longer. This is mine. I'm just going to violate all the norms. The only country that is able to violate those norms is the United States of America. Because when it does violate those norms, it does it through the rule-based international order to a certain degree. And while someone like myself might see the truth in that and still get frustrated endlessly, this past year has shown that America, aligned with Israel, which is an extension of America, never forget, is also capable of doing Vladimir Putin shit. And I think a lot of America's allies are, on the one hand, scared that Vladimir Putin is a bad guy, but they're also now scared that Donald Trump is a bad guy in the exact same way. The collapse of the belief that America's allies have in the rule-based international order is going to lead to real consequences of diminished soft power for America. And in that process, America will no longer be the hegemonic superpower. And as I repeat over and over again, those 800 military bases will now look like 800 military occupations. Like, think about that. Europeans are terrified of Vladimir Putin for what? What's the reason? Well, because he's a madman and he has shown his proclivity for land grabs. Okay? And we're talking about new land grabs. If you already did the land grabs, if you engaged in colonialism and you still have like colonial remnants within your economic infrastructure, like, you know, maybe you have a couple West African countries that you still control the currency of or whatever, that's different. In the minds of the Europeans, they look at that in a very different way. They're like, well, that's just business as usual. That already happened in the past. But when you got a fucking dude who's going, I'm taking a piece of a country on the European continent, they're like, whoa, what the fuck is going on? Hold on. But now you got Donald Trump saying he also wants a piece. You know? You got Donald Trump straight up being like, I'm taking Greenland. Fuck you gonna do about it? I'm taking Canada. What are you gonna do about it? I'm taking the Panama Canal. Also, I'm taking Gaza. I'm taking all of it. So this like overt, like pro-empire attitude with not even a lot of massaging of the narrative is something that I think a lot of people are understandably afraid of. Okay? It makes sense. Because in some ways, it is very Adolf Hitler, especially considering that he also wants to do internal concentration camps for the undesirables that live on U.S. soil. Quite a long time, America has at least tried to engage in empire behavior. When America used to engage in empire behavior, they would at least like masquerade it as a positive. And we've completely dropped that notion.